It's never happened on Skype.
Right. We're recording. Ta 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 ta. Say something, guys, just so I can see if you're.
Hello.
Yeah.
Rhubarb.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, dear listeners. This is episode 92 of the Devon Dice podcast. What did I was thinking then? I don't know. Let's do that again. 3, 2, 1.
You should have done a warm up, mate.
Yeah,
Rubber baby buggy bumpers. Rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Right. Right. Welcome, dear listeners. This is episode 92 of the Devon Dice podcast, recorded on the 8th of January 2023. Whoa. Okay, I'm your host, Joel Wright. We're about to bring you now a new, shiny, regular, monthly or fortnightly. Is it going to be fortnightly podcast for you. Join me on the podcast is Nick Shaw.
Hang on. Well, just to clarify, how many times have we promised that before in the past, and how many times have we delivered it?
We got a roadmap now. It should be all right.
Well, if you got a roadmap, that's fine. Problem solved.
Joining me on this podcast, as you can hear in the background, we've got Dr. Lewis, our classic board game player.
Hello.
Nick Shaw, the podcast resident game designer.
Hello, everyone.
And later on, hopefully, Sam will be dropping in, who is our master of the Clank universe and everything that goes with it.
He certainly is.
Welcome, guys. I hope you had a great Christmas, unlike I did, which was full of sickness and bugs and God knows what else.
Oh, no, ours are good, thanks.
No, mine was full of COVID.
Was it?
You had COVID too. Oh,
everyone
won
had
up to us.
oh.
Yeah,
We managed
COVID.
to escape the bugs.
Oh,
My dad got it, my mother-in-law got it, I got it, my brother-in-law got it, everyone had it. More people I knew had COVID, including me, in this like 2-week period than like the whole of the entire 3-year pandemic, or whatever it was, a 2-year pandemic.
Yep.
Just everyone
is that your
I knew
first
had
time
it.
having it?
Yeah, never had it before. I thought I was immune.
And you worked in the industry that we're like came in contact with in a regular basis.
Not just that. I was working in the actual hot clinics, like seeing COVID positive people like every day.
Not once caught it then.
back in the day before there was vaccines, the government were like, you were like, oh, any protective equipment? They're like, yeah, just sort of put this little bit of cloth over your mouth, you'll be all right. Have you thought about not breathing? I've got a plastic apron. Will that help? So I just assumed like if I was going to get it, I would definitely have had it by now. But no, turns out plastic aprons and bits of cloth on the mouth are more effective than you first think. Which I, for one, was surprised. But who am I?
How bizarre!
Oh, brilliant!
And Sam has joined us.
Sam has just jumped into the chat. Hi, Sam.
Good evening.
Yeah, we have
Hi,
just
Sam.
started. We were just talking about our Christmas and who got the worst illnesses. I think Lewis has trumped us all at the minute.
What did he have?
Everyone had COVID in his house.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I haven't even been back to work yet.
Really?
Yeah, I was still testing positive like over a week later, so they wouldn't let me go back.
Wow.
But I do I was working, but from home, my laptop, calling people up.
Nice.
Which is not
Yeah.
a fan of. But...
No.
I got really ill the week before Christmas, and we thought we were out to call it, but I got over it.
What?
Pretty
Cancel
rapidly.
Christmas?
Well, yeah, my brother was meant to be coming down, and I was just so bad. And then got over it, luckily. And then just after Christmas, the wife got ill, and she's still ill. So
Did you COVID test?
Yeah, and none of the
negative.
results came. Yeah, all of them.
Right.
And Claire's in the NHS. She has to keep testing. It's still like coming back negative. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's really weird. But yeah. So other than that, what games did people get for Christmas? Or did no one get anything?
I did. I put some on my list to talk about later, but we can talk about
Okay.
those. So I got MicroMacro Crime City, which I know is an older game.
I like that game.
I played the demo version online with my son some months ago, and he loved it. So I thought, that'd be a nice one to get. So we played quite a number of those with the kids on day.
That one I got about this time last year. It might have been just before Christmas actually. And then over the Christmas period, on our table we've got like a kind of see-through plastic tablecloth that's quite thick. So we put the map under there, and then just had the envelopes sitting at the side on the side, and then the kids or guests would just kind of grab it and just start like be having a little look. And sometimes someone would like come around for a coffee or something like that, and you'd be sitting on the table just chatting, and then you'd be like, "Ooh, let me slip you this envelope. See what you think of this." And then people would like an hour later like poring over it, and like the fifth mystery, going, "Oh, he's there! I can see him there. What's he got in his hand?
It's very clever. Yeah, I really like it. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a board game as such. It's more of an activity, but it is very enjoyable.
It's like a really good Where's Wally?
Yeah.
No, I gifted myself Clank Catacombs. Only because
those are the best gifts I find.
The self-gifted ones.
From me to me.
Yeah. And this is like
my last birthday, I got myself a Steam Deck. Oh yeah.
Mrs. saw me wrapping it up. She goes, "You wrapping it up for yourself?" I was like, "Yeah." What did you tell me you wanted? Yeah. I wanted to feel special on the day. Oh, what could this be? Shaking it. Oh, wow. It could be really cool.
That is just what I wanted. How did you know?
I even signed it from her as well. From my darling wife.
That's so good.
That is good.
Brilliant.
Oh dear. Anyway, right. How are you, Sam? Anyway, so don't know if I asked that.
Yeah, all good. Nothing much to talk about. Same old board of work already.
Oh man, I hear you on that.
Okay, let's get on with it. So, in the news, I found this game. Just randomly came across it on Board Game Geek, and it's called Temple Raiders. Is it Raiders or Raiders? Can't remember.
Raider.
Raider.
Singular. One Raider.
And so, what intrigued me about it is it's kind of like Shut the Box advanced. If you don't know what Shut the Box is, it's a really simple concept of rolling 2 dice and flicking down the numbers that are rolled on the dice, either singly or combined. And you've got to try and flick down all the numbers to win the activity. In this, you're rolling dice, selecting 2 dice, because there'd be 3 dice possibly or more, selecting 3 dice, and moving these relics from the top of this 3D dice tray pyramid thing down a step, and then you're trying to get as many of them down to the bottom lower one before anyone else does, and score points. And there's a card play system that's going in. I just thought it looked really cool. Looked very simple to play, but looks like there's some strategy there, because whatever you don't pick, your opponents will pick one singular dice out of the pool, and they can move one of their relics down. And I thought it looked really intriguing. So
I love the 3D temple effect. That's really cool.
I like Shut the Box. It's such a simple concept, but it's actually a very entertaining game.
You prefer that?
No, I think this looks like a good little step up.
Nice step up. Yeah.
I do find Shut the Box, you don't have a huge amount of autonomy, whereas here it looks like there's other kind of cards and other funky bits. I don't think the kids would quite like. And I'm big up on simplicity at the moment. I feel like I've played too many bloaty games of late.
Yeah.
This looks a bit like it does, like Five Tribes did for Mancala. The same sort of thing. It's a very simple concept and sort of classic old game, and then puts a load of other stuff on top of it. Quite cool.
Yeah, definitely. So it's meant to be. It's got a date of last year of being released, but like there's barely anything about it. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, it popped up on my
Facebook
feed under ads. So it was. Yeah, they're obviously pushing it.
I couldn't find anything anywhere selling it, so I don't know. Not even America, but we'll see. See if it comes out this year.
Yeah, so the next one, the one I found on Twitter, this is a post that Arabella Holland put up, and she's the designer of the Iron Rails games, which people might know, like Irish Gauge and Iberian Gauge and Ride the Rails, and a number of other train-related games. She's really big into train games. And she posted this thing up on Twitter, which is a game called Doubt is Our Product, which is about tobacco disinformation and profit in the 20th century, which sounds very dry, but a very interesting theme.
Fascinating topic.
It's quite personal to her because her father died of lung cancer when he was 38, and he and her mother were both lifelong smokers, and her mother still insists apparently that no one really knows if smoking causes cancer because she's been taken in by the decades of disinformation. And so Arabella made this game that is basically about it's a 2-player asymmetric game where one player is the industry trying to build up these disinformation campaigns through deck building and engine building, and the other player is playing a political tableau game where they're trying to combat that disinformation and trying to bring about anti-smoking legislation. So it sounds like a fascinating idea for a game.
That is a brilliant theme.
Yeah.
Original, at least.
Indeed. Wow. It's lovely to have a different theme like that come out.
So where's the part where you raid the temple and get the gems?
Yeah.
Does that happen after the people start smoking? Exactly. Or they smoke when they get the gems? Is that
Yeah, that's it. It's the post-gem cigarette.
That's it.
So this, she says, is coming out, slated for release in November is the plan, I think. But there's not much information.
BS then.
Quite possibly preview. Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Yeah, but we'll see. See how that comes out.
Awesome.
So this was announced back in mid-December, I think. It was just missed our last recording, but the French board game site Tric Trac, which is kind of known as the French BGG, but French Board Game Geek, is announced that it's shutting down after 23 years of operation. It started the same year as Board Game Geek, but it's very much specialised to the French market because it's all in French language. It's very popular with a lot of the French designers. They post a lot of things there, like Bruno Cathala and Bruno Fiduti. Post a lot of things there. And it was bought out by Asmodee 3 years ago. And then the Asmodee owners, when they bought them out last year, were trying to kind of changing the direction of where they wanted to go, and eventually they decided they're not going to continue funding it, and so they're having to shut it down, which is kind of sad. But it was a much nicer user interface than Board Game Geek. It was really
I
nice
don't believe that. I don't know of a better user interface than Board Game Geek. It's so easy to find what you want, so easy to follow arguments and tracks, easy to comment.
But amazingly, this was actually better.
Yeah, that seems unbelievable. But
so it's very sad. The original owners or creators had stepped away last year, I think, and then they just couldn't keep the funding going. They couldn't monetize it well enough, so the owners are now shutting it down.
I think it's a sign of the times, though, isn't it? I think that definitely it's interesting 22 years. The boom is definitely over, but again, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing for board gaming in general. In that the boom's over, because I think there was a lot of bloat and terrible rubbish that's been dragging the hobby down as a whole. So I think a bit of a clear out isn't necessarily a bad idea.
But this is more.
Well, this is bad. No, this is. I'm
it's a very different thing, but I think it is a symptom of that. Yeah. That they've invested too much in it.
Not that the best designers necessarily will survive, but
indeed, yeah.
But a bit of a clear out would be a good idea.
Yeah. And the last one on my news list was announced again mid-December, I think it was, that the publishers of Woodcraft, who I've forgotten now because I haven't got the tab open. There it is. So Delicious Games announced they were going to release a free roll and write version of Woodcraft, Woodcraft is a new game that came out last year from Vladimir Suchy. And this is a roll and write condensed version of it, and they've released it for free, which they released at Christmas, I think it was. And it looks pretty nice. It is a condensed roll of Woodcraft.
What's their thought behind that? So the main game of Woodcraft is not roll and write, then I take it.
No, it's epic.
It's dice use. It's one of Suchi's big grand type games. Quite complex.
So this is like a little kind of taster.
Yeah, I think this is to drag people in. Oh, roll and write, play this, and then
it's
like,
the same theme.
It's a real game
very similar mechanics, but it's considerably lighter game. Its own plays in half an hour, and it's free and you can download it. I mean, I don't think they've done a low ink version, which is slightly annoying. But it's there's not a huge amount. There's a couple of sheets of cards and a board, and you just need to get your own dice, and that's it. All you need. Off you go.
Got to get your own dice. Oh, for goodness sake.
Oh no, you can't print the dice. Unless you have a 3D printer, like
that is another symptom of the downfall of the board game industry. I tell you.
You have to get your own dice.
I think that's massive level of entitlement if you desire free dice with your free roll and write printer.
Yeah, damn right, standards.
You can get free dice rolling apps. It's fine.
That is true.
If you're really going that way. So yeah, check that out. It's on Board Game Geek. If anyone wants to look at it, it's called Woodcraft Roll and Write.
I was going to get all high and mighty about it when I first saw it until I realised they gave it out for free, and I was just like,
This is a clear rip-off.
Cashing in on original game's only been out for like 3 months. What a load of it's free. Oh, right,
they're cashing in on the roll and write already.
So on Dice Tower News, I was just on theirs today, and they've got actually quite a lot of news articles. A few of them caught my interest that I'm going to bring up now. So guys, is it possible to make a legacy game with only 18 cards?
Oh, I saw that one on the news as well. And apparently, yes, it is.
Oh yeah, Button Shy Games, known for making their 18-card micro deck games, is going to be releasing a legacy game called Wild Tales: A Pirate Legacy. So this concept: 1 to 2 players build your own empire by successfully navigating each chapter of a growing campaign. In true legacy fashion, choices permanently alter the story and the components. So I don't know if this is truly an 18-card game.
I think it is where you're actually writing on or destroying the cards as you play through the game.
I don't know how legacy
actual games you get out of it.
Bubble had kind of popped now. I haven't really seen any.
Yeah, legacy. You don't get as many now. You tend to get more campaign games which will be playable.
But, this is also,
but there are still quite a few.
This is also a novelty, isn't it, as well, to some degree? So
yes, doing an 18-card legacy is.
Yeah, definitely. I'll just be checking and checking it out when it does come out. So yeah.
It'll probably be nice and cheap as well for a little 18-card wallet game.
Yeah. Talking of legacy games, the guy that actually created the legacy game genre, Rob Davio, has released more information about his up-and-coming title, The Upside Down from Stranger Things.
I heard this one too.
So he's on here. There's a lot of more information about it. It doesn't look like it's a legacy game. I think it's probably going to be, if anything, just like one-off plays, or it might be a little bit of a campaign to it. I have not figured it out. They haven't given that information yet, but it does look good.
I think there's some kind of campaign on it.
What
would work really well?
On the topic, Sam, just going back to your roll and write problems. Now, what year did Takenoko come out?
2000. I don't know. 2012, I guess.
Okay, is 10 years? Is 10 years or 10, 11 years long enough to bring out a roll and write?
Yes, and it's 11 years. I just checked. 2011 it came out. So
yeah,
that's very
wow. Yeah. So okay, I'll take that.
That statute
Takenoko roll and write is allowed. Yeah, I'll make a note. Takenoko roll and write.
That's almost too long, isn't it? Really?
Too long, is it? Right, I'll give them a -1. So permissible, but a minus point.
Yeah, it took too long.
No one cares anymore. What
it's no good releasing a roll and write when no one cares about roll and writes anymore. So
that's the other bubble that's kind of gone, isn't it, with roll and write?
On a sad news, Heroscape, the age of sorry, my brain's gone. Age of Annihilation was on the crowdfunding website Hasbro Pulse, and unfortunately did not meet its goal, so it won't be coming out. So
I love how you're reading off news stories that we haven't got a clue about because they're not in the script.
Yeah. I thought Heroscape had already been redone. Because there was the original one from like the 80s, wasn't there? And I thought there was,
didn't they?
Yeah,
they
there was already a
recently without any changes at all. Rulebook and everything was exactly the same with the same errors and everything.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah. This is obviously a reworking thing, is it?
Yeah. So we announced we said about this a few podcasts back when it first came out onto the website, and we actually said about the price for it was $250 for this core set, which did have quite a bit in it, but the one thing that stood out was in the original the figures were painted, in this one not painted. So but they were asking for a huge backing.
Yeah, they had a really big high funding goal.
$250 for a copy, and they had nearly 4,500 people saying yes, please.
Yeah, they needed 8,000
and still didn't have enough.
Yeah. What were you
expecting? Well, it's Hasbro. I reckon they thought they would get a lot more interest.
Yeah. I think they did as well.
A lot of more fanboys, but that
if they'd stuck it on Kickstarter or GameFound, they probably would have done.
I've never even heard of this thing. What is this thing they put it on? Hasbro funding. Sorry, Hasbro. No one.
Their own crowdfunding site.
Yeah, the richest toy company in the world is looking for Kickstarter style funding. Seems ironic.
Why?
It's not. I'm going to say if you can't afford it, then no one's going to back you.
Surely they could afford it multiple times over without.
Well, this is it.
So that was, if just a quick bit of maths, that was $1,088,250.
Yeah,
seems like enough to print the game.
Still not enough.
That's got to cover their costs, and then they're Hasbro. They can just advertise it and.
Their costs would have been way lower than that. Let's face it, they would have printed it. They'd have delivered those 4,500 copies. They would have whacked 10,000 copies, 20,000, 50,000 copies. They'd have stuck in storage probably.
Well, yeah, but that's the point, isn't it?
For economies of scale, obviously.
They were offering free shipping on it, so we missed out on that.
Okay.
Well,
to be fair, that's a fair sized chunk of. That's not going to cost small changes. To be fair,
that has saved you 150 quid these days if Kickstarter's going to go on, and that's how I judge how much postage costs.
Well, if you judge it by CMON postage costs, I'm pretty sure.
No, well, I've not sent a parcel recently, but I've not bothered because I know how much it costs because I've seen it on Kickstarter, so I know how much it costs to post things. So I don't bother.
It's only free shipping if you subscribe to their Hasbro Pulse Premium package, which is 50 quid, which gives you access to early access products, back in stock items, members only seasonal promotion discounts, and access to exclusive Hasbro Pulse content and events. It's just like, great, you want even more money for nothing. Okay, fine.
So yeah, their target was $2 million based on that count, which is a crazy high level. Yeah, I'm not surprised. And they had specifically, they said on it, limit of 5 per customer. So you're going to have 5 copies per customer. How many customers bought 5 copies?
Well, I mean, that's probably why they failed, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Everybody's trying to get their 8 copies, and they've only let them get 5, and they've wondered why they haven't hit their funding goal. Honestly, you do wonder how some of these companies are run these days. I'm amazed they're still afloat.
They've got a shit ton of things like Power Rangers and My Little Pony. That's pretty much what bankrolls it. Not to mention the 50 million copies of Monopoly they print every year.
Oh, God, what a horrendous game.
Moving on to Kickstarters. Spirit of Christmas. This is from Nick, actually found this. So
Spirit of Christmas, I assume.
Yeah, Spirit of Christmas. A light co-op about playing as the ghosts trying to redeem Scrooge before time runs out. On Kickstarter in February and hoping to be delivered before this Christmas.
You'd hope delivered pretty much like November, wouldn't you?
That is the riskiest Kickstarter. If they miss it and they're in February, it's like.
I mean, it's a huge bit of pressure for them to make sure they get that timing right.
Yeah.
I think to the point where I'd make sure they get it printed and it delivered, and they get it to the warehouse in like July, and they just sit on them for 4 more months.
So what are they doing to them in the warehouse?
No, sit on it.
Sitting on them.
Sit on them. I was going to say it's a bit extreme if they don't like it to track them in the warehouse like that.
Well, once Christmas is over, what are we going to do with it? If we get this game for Christmas, what are we going to do after Christmas? Can't play this game now.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it when we posted it on our Discord chat about Christmas themed stuff, and that's my main problem with Christmas themed games is you've got that 2-week window where you feel like it's appropriate to play, and after that you sit on it for another 12 months, and then you hope that it's also good enough that you'd want to play it anyway. And I don't know. I've never been a particularly Christmassy person anyway, so not like gaming Christmassy, I should say.
Well,
games I like.
There were a lot of families that will buy like a game for Christmas, won't they? So
but that's my point, isn't it? Is like you buy a game for Christmas, you give it to your kid on Christmas Day, and then that's it, isn't it? It's Christmas Day, and then after that, who gives them?
But that is 90% of Monopoly sets. You play it once on Christmas Day, and to be honest, it's probably got played more.
My point is, you could play those if you really wanted to, without any kind of connotation. Where if a game is called Spirit of Christmas, you're not going to play that in April, I would guess.
Well,
depends how good it is.
I guess if it's aimed at families, then you get it for Christmas, play at Christmas, and that's all you need.
Yeah, but then the return, if you talk about the return on investment or the like the kind of pay per play or the plays per pound kind of return, it's pretty poor on a Christmas game, I would think.
But I guess aiming for families, they wouldn't really. If it's a Christmas present, they wouldn't matter. But then, how many families searching for board games would go, "Oh, I'll back something on Kickstarter"?
Yeah,
it's 11 months
in advance.
Yeah, I'll be interested. We'll follow it, I reckon, because it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'll see what happens to it.
I would assume that goal will be relatively low, because otherwise I don't honestly think it will fund. But we'll see. Yeah.
Maybe you're underestimating everyone's spirit of Christmas.
I mean, you could say on one side you could say there aren't enough Christmas games, and on the other side you should probably question why are there not Christmas games.
Well, none of us question why there weren't enough games about the smoking industry and what it's done to people's minds on twisting the truth.
Yep.
Which is another classic theme that could be brought out at Christmas.
Yeah.
So looking it up, actually, they're tagged on Board Game Geek. There are 379 games tagged as Christmas.
Out of how many games on Board Game Geek?
I don't know, 200,000.
What are their average ratings?
Now you're testing Nick's skills at data.
Yes, it's more. Well, it shows the highest rank on top, which is things like the Brettspiel Advent Calendar, which I think is cheating because that's not really a game. Promos and things.
I did the Exit Advent Calendar. That was very good.
Yeah, some of them are really good actually. Some of the Advent Calendar.
Very easy.
Most of these are not well rated. These Christmas games, 4s, 3s, some 7s, 5s, 2s, 2. Oh, I'll look at that now.
Disgusting, isn't it? How some industries cash in on Christmas.
Oh dear. So that was Spirit of Christmas.
Very good.
I have got others listed, but then they're only up and coming, and there's not much I can see on it. Nova Roma is, but I've looked on. So this is up and coming Kickstarters, and as I scrolled through it, there's actually several entries for Nova Roma. So I think this like build one site, and there's actually it's not that good, so let's build another one. So I don't know if this is coming out this year or not. So I'm not going to talk much more about it.
But you've got one about paint drying, so we can talk about that.
Well, it's not paint drying; it's about paints.
A game about paint drying.
I mean,
is that the same one about the washing cars?
No, it's not even a game. It's acrylic paints. Maximum pigmentation.
Apparently, this podcast has expanded its repertoire. We're now interior designers. So
I think Joel's decided we need to cash in on those miniatures painting dollars.
That's what it is.
So basically, there's a Kickstarter coming up. 1001 Labs UG Ultracryl premium acrylic paints with maximum pigmentations. So these are like really high contrast colours they're trying to get you to buy for your miniatures, which I might look into.
Painting, yeah.
I'll have a look at it. I mean, I've actually bought a few products now on Kickstarter that to do with painting. I've just got one downstairs, which is a wet paint palette, which has combinations of like a tray separation and then a wet palette below, and it came with brushes and everything. And I'm actually really liking it. Yeah, I'm always looking at other things maybe to improve my paints and what they come out with. But yeah, so that's on its way.
Yeah.
Not sure when it's coming out. I was just looking on GameFound. There was quite a lot of games on there. One for you, Nick. Ending soon. Arabella. A 18XX roll and write. Have you?
An 18XX roll and write.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a roll and write, but the bid is the pledge level is like 60. What is it? One copy, $40. Sorry, no, 40 euros,
right.
which is around about £40 these days. Yeah, 40 euros for a roll and write. Which, granted, an 18XX will have a lot of replayability, but you're going to have to provide your own dice and tokens.
What?
And things. So that sounds. Yeah, it's a roll and write.
But believable. It's not. But surely a roll and write they can put some dice into the box, can't they? Or is it a print and play? Is it?
I'm assuming it's print players. It's a roll. Well, let's have a look.
No, there's dice.
Oh no, it does. Okay, yeah, it comes with dice.
They give you lots of dice. Thank goodness. I was just about to say it. It's not going to fund anyway, is it? It's only got 1 day left.
They are, they're on 88% funding, and they're on the last 48 hour stretch. Well, the last 24 hour stretch. 1 hour 20, 48 hours. So probably the 48 hour reminder might have gone out. I don't know if GameFound does 48 hour reminders like Kickstarter.
I don't know.
Have to see, but they've been posting lots of updates. There's a solo mode.
Yeah, because GameFound's quite nice because you don't have to back it. You can follow it with a click of a button, and you get all the updates. So you can see with Kickstarter if you want to get the updates. Like sometimes
$1.
Yeah, like Claire keeps saying, "Why are you backed another project?" Just for $1 so I can follow the updates.
You can't be trusted anymore. She's got like some sort of tabs on it now. It comes up and like flashes up on her phone when you've backed another project.
Yeah.
So for an 18XX game, it is very cheap. If you look at some of the Winsome games, they can be hundreds of pounds. So from that point of view, it's quite a good buy-in price. But I don't know how complex it's going to be for a roll and write.
Another one on there, Andromeda's Edge. It's not out yet. It's coming up. Looks like a really good game of worker placement, tableau building, all like Euro aspects set in the future. And I am trying to get back to it again because I just clicked to follow, and now
I think I had that one on my follow list on GameFound, actually.
Yeah, individual powers, upgradable ships, and when you back this, you'll get this Space Dragon faction, which sounds ridiculous but cool at the same time. So yeah, I'll definitely follow along, see what it's like, and that. And the other one, and people actually, a guy I follow on YouTube, Average King, he was going on about Batman Escape from Arkham Asylum at first, but then he's come back and says, maybe it might not be a good idea from what I've looked into and read and things like that, because he practically backs everything that comes up with miniatures. So this is basically you are the villains and you're trying to escape Arkham City, and Batman's being a dick and trying to thwart your plans. So yeah, that's good. I've actually got a similar game to it. Lewis, you played it. What's it called? Gotham City? I think it's called Gotham. It's Gotham City strategy board game where you're the villains.
There was one. Wasn't the one where like it was like an area control game?
Yes. And it's got the clicks. The clicks. So the base clicks around and tells you how much health and attack you do.
Oh, hero clicks.
Hero clicks. It's got that. It's that as bases, and again, you're trying to fulfill your dastardly deeds on the city, and Batman's just flying around. You have, I'm sure you have. We played it at one of the pub sessions.
HeroClix.
It's not actually HeroClix, but it's got the same figures.
What's it called?
Batman Gotham City strategy board game.
I remember one that was like an area control game where like you kind of put your dudes out.
So this is kind of similar to it. It hasn't got the HeroClix aspect, but you've got miniatures, and most likely there's going to be a ton more villains released with it when it actually comes out. So, it's cooperative as well, semi-cooperative dungeon crawl, 1 to 5 players. So yeah, launching end of this month. So yeah, a couple of games to look out for.
Oh, this definitely rings a bell. I can't remember playing it at all.
Okay, so here is our top games we played of 22. The caveat is it doesn't have to be released in 22. It could have been released in 2002 for all I care, but it'd be new to everyone or new to you playing it that year. I think all mine actually from 2022, and it's probably only Lewis by the looks of it that is from other years.
None from 2022.
Well, you knew that this year.
Oh, yeah, no, he's got one.
This year, my aim this year was to go back and play old school games that mainly classics.
Well, there we
that
go.
I haven't played. I decided I had too many games sitting on the shelf having not been played.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I was bored of some of the
as long as it was the first time playing it,
out.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kick things off, and my number 4, since we're going to 4 when it was 3, is basically just one of those, and it's technically not even a physical board game or card game. It's a digital card game that I play every day. I've played since it was released. I absolutely love it, and that's Marvel's Snap. I've talked about it previously.
Starting that.
Yeah, and at first I just thought it was just a Marvel themed pointless card game. It's not. No, the Snap. It's got nothing to do with the actual card game of like slamming down cards and trying to match. There's a point in the game where you can gamble. You're gaining cubes, and if you get all the way to the end of the game and you win, you get 2 cubes. And your cubes build up, and it's like another kind of tier session going on. But at some point, if you can win this game, you can click on the cube, which is basically a snap, like Thanos snap kind of thing, and it then will double the cubes at the end of the game. So you could come away with 4 cubes. Now, if your opponent thinks they're going to win, they could snap as well, which you could walk away with 8 cubes whoever the winner is. So it's that kind of gamble, because if you lose, you'll lose that amount of cubes off of your tally. So you could go down the tiers. And now I'm getting quite deep into it and looking into it. I'm like, actually, there's some real big strategies of how you build your decks up, because you take 12 cards in with you, and those decks got to work, and you draw a few up at the beginning of your turn. And then you'll get like a power, so you can only play cards down with 1 power. And then next turn you get 2 power, so you can only play cards with 2 power. So you might not actually draw up 1 power, 2 power cards. So you've got to try and work your decks to work throughout the game and have that potential of winning 2 out of the 3 locations that are there. And sometimes the locations are really random because they have their own powers and abilities, and they can really screw with you, or they can really help you. And you just know, like mid-game, like, oh, I've got this in the bag, and then suddenly it could just be turned on its head, and they pull this card out, or they pull out a combination. He's like, oh, I never thought of it doing it like that before. And next bit, you've lost the game, and you just got to hold your hands up and say, well done, that was a great play. So yeah, I'm really loving it. Probably put a bit too much money into it.
I was just about to say, how much have you spent on ridiculous boxes or whatever they're called?
Well, you don't necessarily get booster packs with this. You go up a tier ladder system again, where it gives you cards. So it's really weird way of doing it, but you buy a battle pass each month. And at first I was like, oh, that's okay. £8 for the first battle pass. I earn gold. You can usually put gold back into the next battle. No, it's £8 again next month. Oh, really? I was like, okay, maybe I'll see how it goes. And it's like, yeah, sod it. Another £8 in there. And then it's like the third month I'm in. I'm in the fourth month. I think I'm in the fourth month. I'm just like, I'm still holding out. I'm not buying it this time. Probably will. Probably do it. Can't help it. And then they put a bundle out, which included the card, the character, Gambit. I love Gambit. I haven't got him yet.
Yep.
And I was just like,
do I do it? Joe.
You'll have
to buy the magic crate.
So, yeah, basically, they sucked me in. So now I'm watching.
Fair enough.
Yeah. App guys now are basically crack dealers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, try this.
They literally did that with the game. I remember opening it up thinking, what is this? Because it was being plastered all over social media.
Yeah.
So I was like, clicked it. I was like, okay, this is a bit simple, isn't it? And then they just give you bits and bits and lead you in, and you're going up the tier systems. Like, well, they've not asked for money yet. Okay, I'll keep playing. So I keep opening more cards and getting more cards. Oh, that's a cool card. Oh, that's great. And then it gets to level 10. And it's like, right, so you reach level 10. If you want to continue like getting more stuff on the battle pass, you need to pay us money. I was like, oh, just like, oh, okay, this once, I'll do it this once, and then nah,
that's the way they get you.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're fully hooked.
But yeah, they've got to fund it somehow, haven't they? So
yeah, but they're really putting effort into it, and they've got new features coming out of it in the next month or so, where you can like team up with your mates and like just play games not randomly, but play games with like compare decks and things like that. So that'd be fun. So
cool.
So that was my number 4-ish game.
I'll go next. My number 4 is Great Western Trail Argentina, which we mentioned in the GridCon episode, because I played that at GridCon. I also played it the other week with the local group. Had a great time again. 3 players again this time. GridCon was 4 players. This was 3 players. Still worked really nicely at 3 players. I think now definitely I like this a lot more than the original Great Western Trail. It fixes all the issues I think I had with the original, and it's still great fun to play, and everyone enjoyed it who were playing it. Yeah, number 4.
Yeah, I played it once, and that's why it's not made my list, because I've only played it once, and I came away with like, wow, that is different. I need to play it again to know what
it is. Surprisingly different to the original, considering how much is the same. It feels very different.
I kind of feel like you still need Great Western Trail. Teach someone that is new to it all Great Western Trail, let them play a few games of that, and then say, right, now we're going to play Argentina. Because Argentina just smacks a ton more rules in. And even when Ian was teaching us how to play it, and he's like 15-minute teach of just the new rules, or 20 minutes maybe, and he says, so that's my quick, brief explanation of the rules. I was like, brief? I'm lost. I'm just going to follow whatever you do, mate.
Yeah.
I know Great Western Trail really well. I've loved playing it. I know this. I was like, I'm out. I'm done.
I wonder if I picked it up quicker because I don't know Great Western Trail quite that well. I played it maybe 4 times, the original.
No.
So and it had been a few years, so having it retaught, I think, just fitted in really well. And I think some of the rules they seem more thematically intuitive. So it makes sense of a lot more.
I do like some of the nuances they added into it, and we'll probably discuss that later on. But so the things they added in really did make it. But there is a next step level to it, I reckon.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So, Sam, what could it be? I wonder. Your 4th game you're going to mention.
I've got 5 now. So
he's got
the rules changed, so I've now got 5, just so that Lewis isn't left out in the cold with his 5.
Have to do 2 at once then.
Yeah, so I'll do a quick one.
Technically, I've got 5 as well, but anyway, carry on.
So first up is Meadow, which I only played for the first time 2 weeks ago. Must have been last week. It was after Christmas, whatever happened. And I don't know if any of you guys have played Meadow, but it feels like one of those games that everyone can kind of picture. It's got the weasel on the front cover.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't played it.
So I think it's one of those that's really under the radar a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, it's very nice. It's in that same kind of group of games of nature loving sort of style that Wingspan kind of started in a roundabout kind of way. And essentially all it is a sort of set collection-ish kind of game. Where you're building up a tableau essentially of sort of environment and animal cards. So you might start off with like a grassland, and then you started the grassland. A beetle can live in the grassland, but then a bird will eat the beetle, so you can put the bird on top of the beetle, and then the hawk will eat the bird, and then so you sort of mean so you can you need these certain cards with the certain icons to be able to place them into your tableau. I'm not going to go into the full details like you as requested, but essentially it's just this really nice game where you've got sort of limited number of actions, and you use your action tiles in 2 different places with 2 different types of power. So you're either collecting and playing a card, or you're taking a special action. But it's one of those games that I played it, and 20 minutes in, I was like, this is a keeper, and I reckon I could teach this without having to look at the rulebook again. It's that kind of simple. I'm rubbish at teaching games. I'll have to refer to the rulebook all the time, and I'm pretty sure I can teach this one without having to. It's very. It's on that elegantly designed level, where it's very simple but very satisfying to play, and it's very pretty.
It's
which
beautiful.
Is always a good thing.
200 unique illustrated cards.
Yeah, that was the amazing thing. That was what stood out as well, is that every single card was completely different. Every animal was different. Every sort of backdrop that the animal was in was different. Every landscape and item was different. It was very, very good, very well made, and it's very much an under radar game. It's like people that have played it seem to love it. But an awful lot of people haven't played it at all. So I'm going to make it my campaign game this year. That's the one I'm going to try and make most people play, I think.
Okay,
cool.
That's cool.
And number 4, just to keep up to everybody, is Clank Catacombs, which I'm sure we'll talk about a bit later.
Oh, well, only your number 4?
Only my number 4.
Whoa. It must be absolutely awful.
Well, we're not going to. We're not going to.
Did you hear how much I really enjoyed Meadow? No, very, very briefly, it's at number 4. I think everyone would have gone, why is it number 1 after all my Clank kind of eulogizing? But it's because it is Clank. I'll never not like Clank, but it is Clank with a tiny tweak to its tiles-based map instead of it being a board. So to me, it's not a huge enough jump in what I enjoy about Clank to make it go any higher than where it is in my list.
How many times you played it?
3 times now.
Yeah, see, I've only played it once, and that was on Christmas Day, and I did enjoy it. How long have your games gone on for, Sam? Because mine are
longer than normal.
Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt. Probably a couple hours, I would guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
as well.
And not only that, but we've never got out with a mastery token.
Really?
Maybe in the first game we did. But the last 2 games,
you're talking about, or everyone?
Or anyone. I think the first game maybe we got out with a mastery token, but the last 2, no. In the second game I played, everyone died but me, I think.
What are the mastery tokens? Are those the artifacts you got to grab? One of the artifacts?
No.
It's the one that if you get out with an artifact, get out of the dungeon with an artifact, you get a 20-point bonus token.
Oh yeah.
But in the last game I played, we all died, and 2 of us died in the shallow bit, the tiles essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels a more savage game. When you start losing health, you lose it quick as well.
Yeah.
That's what we've sort of found. I mean, there's a lot to like about it. But to me, it's exactly like Clank. It's just got a modular board basically, and a couple of tweaks. Things like the white cubes and the prisoners.
But you might have just been unlucky, because I've played games of Clank where it looks like everything's going to slide crazily and you're going to die within seconds, and then suddenly you carry on dying. You carry on for ages and ages. I've played other games where it looks like nothing's ever going to happen, and suddenly, bang, you're dead.
Oh yeah, definitely. It definitely is that. It's not. I've played enough games of Clank. I think in total with all the versions, I've played over 100 games of Clank now, and it's like I say, it's not that much different in terms of how it plays out. I like what it's done, but at the same time, just because in terms of the ranking of my games, the new to me games of the year, I don't think Clank Catacombs it's not revolutionary to me, so therefore it's not as it doesn't stand out as like the game of the year. That's all. I'd love it.
Really?
I'll always play it. I'm not entirely sure. I'm on the fence of whether I prefer it to Base Clank. I think I still prefer Base Clank at the moment, but that may well change with expansions and stuff.
So the main difference is you don't. The board is modular and you don't see it until someone explores it. Essentially,
and
that part of it is amazing because it does make it so much more thematic in terms of we're exploring a dungeon, we don't even know what's in there. Ooh, so it's got that bit to it.
Is it not more annoying because it makes it even more swingy?
Yes,
it does make it swingy. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Isn't Clank already almost annoyingly swingy? Like it's right on the cusp.
No, because you can plan in normal Clank, can't you? You can map your route.
That's the part. Yeah,
you can anticipate, but it's also then down to you can build a deck with the idea of thinking I've got the movement I need now, I've got swords, and then you're just waiting for the right combo to come out at the right time.
Lewis,
that still happens with Catacombs, but because of things like the white cubes, the ghost cubes, they come out and they injure everybody. Yeah. And also you can get a bit stranded at one end of the dungeon at some point, and again that's going to be, I think in repeat plays you'll end up coming out of it going, well, you don't want to be too far away from other people because you might get knackered and then you can't, you might run out of lockpicks and therefore you can't now get through the lock zones and that sort of stuff. Whereas if you're near somebody else, you can kind of piggyback a little bit on their movement. And I think that's something that will come out with repeat plays. And I think it will lead to a lot more tactical play that isn't inherent in base Clank because you can see the entire board and you can go, they're going to beat me to that treasure, so I'm just going to go over this way and try and get this one. You don't necessarily know where you're going to find the treasure, who might find the treasure, because obviously the tiles are coming out and denoting what comes out. So from a thematic point of view, it makes it a much more interesting dungeon crawl. But for me, I've played so many games of Base Clank that's still my darling, basically.
Yeah, see, in this, you can set the tiles out where they come, but cards come out in the dungeon where it say spin tiles that players are on 180 degrees, and then we do that, which screws up the route, because then for a while Claire was just in this little section going around doing bits and pieces, and she realised I can't get out. I'm actually in a loop of infinity here, and we looked at it, it's like, yeah, you are. And then in the end,
that sounds like the normal Clank nonsense.
Yeah, in the end, luckily she got to a portal, which then she could get to somewhere else, and then she had to take this long route out, and she got into the upper level, luckily, so she could still score. But my brother, who's never played Clank before, got out and nearly won. He got out a bit too soon, and I just kept on raiding and just got to the shallow level. So yeah. He actually quite enjoyed it, but I did look at it. I was like, this actually takes a long time to play now. So
and it spreads as well. You need a big table.
Yeah, you do need a big table.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we start to sort of go, well, this is now the finite edge of the dungeon. Essentially, go right, no more this way or that way. You've got to, because otherwise it can end up being some crazy thing of moving the tiles around and trying to not budge everything around. And so yeah. There's inherent problems with it as a result, but I think no different to any other tile laying sort of game.
Lewis.
Yeah, so I'm put these in order, so give me a second to have a little think. So I think what I'll say my fifth one that I'll do, a game I surprisingly, I've kind of had two themes of games this year that will become apparent. Number one, and two of I'd say both the themes are probably not games that I traditionally like. So the first kind of theme type of games that I've played with my game group recently is we've played a lot of area control games. And that was partly because we started it because we wanted to play a classic, which was El Grand, which is, debatably the grandfather of area control, although some people may suggest Risk, or if you really want to talk about it, perhaps checkers or even chess, maybe. I don't know. But the game that I think of as a kind of a modern board game, granddaddy of of area control. We played that and we really enjoyed that, and we had a good fun of that. And then my friend has all 3 of the Simon triplet, which is Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and Ankh. And so we played all 3 of those. And Blood Rage, I think I talked about on that other podcast. I've played a lot of, and every time I play it infuriates me, but I can't help but like that game. I actually really quite like that game. And Rising Sun we played, which is kind of in the middle of the kind of 3 in terms of it's a lot less swingy, but there's still kind of random gotcha elements. And then most recently we've played Ankh, which is the by far the tightest and least sort of gotcha swinginess to it out of the 3. And strangely, the one I liked the best was Rising Sun. And so I've sort of put that Rising Sun and El Grande together, or Grande, whatever you want to call it, as a kind of a 1 block at my 5 and 4. And that's coming from someone who really doesn't particularly like area control games, but I've kind of put them as a kind of a joint kind of little group there. I think probably El Grande just takes it above Rising Sun. Rising Sun has got this annoying thing to do with tea parties, which is basically where you team up with another player, and we were playing at 3-player, and it just doesn't work at 3-player because basically if you team up with someone, you basically get double the actions because you get to do the same actions as they do each round. So you really want to do that, but with 3-player, there's always one person left out, and it just doesn't work. Whereas if you're playing an even number, everyone can always pair up with someone else, so it just works a lot better. But it's just such a disadvantage to not be paired up. No one actually said it, but it worked out that basically everyone spent, because there's 3 rounds, everyone spent a round sat out of an alliance or a group. So it was like a little gentleman's agreement where everyone would sort of take the hit 1 round. We didn't actually officially do that. That's just kind of how it worked out in negotiations. But other than that, I thought Rising Sun was really quite good, really quite interesting. And then Ankh was a bit of a disappointment overall for everyone.
Oh, really? That's a lot of people's favourite. So,
well, Ankh is their favourite.
Yeah. A lot of people.
So,
yeah.
It's definitely the least swingy. It's the tightest. It's a lot more closer to the traditional war game style, because how you originally started off with Risk, where everything has to come from your little area, and then you kind of expand out from that. And then El Grande introduced this thing where you can sort of put things down almost anywhere depending on what card you've got, and things can pop up anywhere and it can catch you off guard, and as long as the big dildo is near you, then you can do whatever you want. But with Ankh, it kind of goes back, and the same with Blood Rage and Rising Sun, especially Rising Sun. Pieces can sort of spring up almost anywhere. With Ankh, you're a bit more tied down to the pieces that you put on the board have to be quite near. They have to be next to a building or another piece you've already got on the board, so it makes movement a lot more interesting. And you've kind of got to spread out a bit. And there's less of that that the other 2 have got, which is that kind of points for death and just for turning up, which is and you can really throw a span in the works. And as people got very annoyed when I won the game of Blood Rage, when I did it without winning a single battle, I think. They were most perturbed by that. Whereas Ankh, you couldn't do that at all. You really want to win the battles and get ahead. So it's a lot more traditional war game in that sense. I can see it appealing to people, but I think that's what makes that trilogy particularly fun and exciting, is that fact that sometimes you can win by losing, and that's what makes Blood Rage so infuriating. It's also so fun, and I think for me, it's Rising Sun that hits that point better myself. But I can see why people would like Ankh more. But I think the other 2 people, I mean, I absolutely stormed it. It's much more my game, and it's much harder to come back from a loss. I did a couple of really shrewd tactical moves earlier on, in the game, which then snowballed. And I think there's like a point in the game where if you haven't reached a certain number of victory points on the track, you instantly lose. And also, if someone gets to the end of the track, then they instantly win. Well, before just the turn, at the end of the turn when my opponents were about to be eliminated, I reached the end of the track anyway. So I was so far ahead. There was supposed to be some bit where they sort of join forces and become like one team, but that didn't actually happen because we never got past that bit. But yeah, it was much easier to steamroll that game if you get a good tactical start. Whereas Blood Rage, anything can happen. And then, like I said, I think Rising Sun's that bit in between.
Oh, yeah,
cool.
Back to you, Joel.
So this was meant to be my number 3. Seems we're doing 5. I've split them into 3 and 4. So my number 4 was Marvel United X-Men, which, yes, I've played Marvel United. This is X-Men, which is standalone, but can work with the original Marvel United. And X-Men Edition brought in new rules, new mechanics, a nice idea of possibly characters you pick have starting cards that always start off with. It also brought in the 5th player element, where you can, if you got 5 players, it's 1 versus many aspects. So someone plays the villain, which actually works okay. I mean, it can feel a bit like it's a bit more harder for the villain, but it worked. It worked fine for what it needed to do. I absolutely love X-Men. That was my comic when I was younger, would read. So like when they announced it was all X-Men based characters, I was like, yeah, I'm all in on this. So yeah, still trying to work through painting stuff. I think that's going to be a lifetime thing at the minute. And it's just got me thinking. Someone's removed it from our Kickstarter mentions, unless I completely missed it. I did put up that the 3rd season of Marvel United is coming out. Probably this month, maybe February, which is now the multiverse season. So it's going to have all these aspects of the characters you now seeing in the MCU universe are going to be into this product, which they also bringing out new mechanics and a new way to play solo mode. So there's still release information that's coming out, but I'm intrigued. But since Simon are doing this stupid shipping cost price thing, it might not be everyone's cup of tea. But if you really want to jump in on Marvel United and get everything, this will be your opportunity. But you might need a good credit card to purchase it all at this rate. So yeah, so that has been my game. Enjoyed it. It's co-op. You can bring it out with a boy and say, which character do you want to be? And he'll say, this one looks cool. And we'll play it. And yeah, it's good fun. It only lasts like half an hour, 40 minutes. My number 3, which is alongside it, is again. So my last games are all Marvel games, funny enough, and it's Marvel Dice Throne. So this is basically Yahtzee, but with a Marvel theme, but it's a dueling game. So you can play this 2-player, and this is where it really works the best, is at 2-player. You get a character box, and with my edition, of course, Kickstarter, you get this tray and everything's laid out, so you get everything you need. You basically can play cards down to upgrade your character. You roll dice, Yahtzee style, so you're either getting combination dice together or trying to get straights, small straight, large straights. And whatever you roll, you try and work out, say, okay, I can do this action. I hit you for 6. They have a chance to hit you back. And the first one to weaken the other one down past 50 health wins the game. I have played it multiplayer with 5 people, I believe. It does take a long time. There's a bit of sitting around and waiting for your turn to come around. So if you're really into a tight squeeze and everyone wants to play it, be in for a long haul. It does work. I think
is this similar to that? Was it like a Star Wars type dice game, Jules one, isn't there?
No, that was Destiny.
Oh yeah.
Star Wars Destiny.
This is kind of more King of Tokyo-y, isn't it? But
yeah, I can't remember now. Yeah,
battling basically.
So I enjoyed it. I mean, I literally just played it today with Isaac, and he smashed me with Black Panther. So yeah, good game. It's what a good keeper because it's Marvel, because it's simple, because it's just chucking dice. I think you could bring it out with anyone. There's a bit of text to read, but it's not that bad. At the end of the day, once you know it.
What I'm taking from Joel's list so far is that he's a massive Disney shill.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm a massive fan of DC as far as I can tell.
Brilliant.
Nick.
So my number 5, as we've added a number 5 in now, is Moonrakers. Moonrakers is a game we played. Joel played it with me at one point last year as well. It's a game of shipbuilding, temporary alliances, and shrewd negotiation. Is its tagline. You're trying to fulfill missions by upgrading your ship and get more powerful weapons, and it's effectively a deck manipulation game. But you're having to make alliances to help people to try and take on these threats. And you can backstab people.
Haven't you?
Yeah. We played it probably summer last year. Great fun. Really enjoyed it. It would have been my honourable mention had I not put it now on the list. So that was Moonrakers. Great fun. And then my number 3. So we're all back to number 3s now. Is Scout, which is the Spiel des Jahres winner from last year. This is just a great trick-taking game. I love trick-taking games, and this adds enough difference to a trick-taking game that makes it really fun. I enjoy it at pretty much every player count. It's a bit wonky at 2 because the rules weren't very well written. But we've solved those now with queries to the publisher. And it's great fun. Everyone I've played with really enjoys it. That's my number 3 is Scout.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. My plays of it. Sam?
My number 3 is Heat, Pedal to the Metal. My main complaint about many racing games is that they never feel fast enough to be a proper racing game. And I fully expected the same thing from Heat. And on my first play, I had to bite apple pie, what's called no humble pie, because it does feel quick. It feels like you're actually racing cars. It's brilliant. We talked about it, I think, in the last episode. But this is easily the best game that Days of Wonder have put out since Five Tribes, without a shadow of a doubt for me.
I'll agree with that.
I'd probably prefer it to Five Tribes as well. So it's probably the best one since Ticket to Ride, potentially, in that case.
High praise indeed.
Pretty good. Yeah, it's genuinely really good. I haven't played Flamme Rouge enough to remember quite what the similarities are, but I know it sort of builds off the mechanics from that. But yeah, it just feels really good, and the fact you can basically play it 1 to 6 players, eventually 8. There is room for 8 players in the box, ironically. So
they will have expansion. Yeah.
But the fact that you can play 1-2 players, no problem, and essentially you still got 6 cars on the track, and it's got this kind of automated robot kind of player, which is easy to run as well. It takes a bit to get your head around quite how it works. It's taken me 2 or 3 players to really understand.
Once you've worked it out, though, it's really quick to.
Yeah, if the robot car is before a certain line, it moves the full movement that it's got on the thing. If it's after that line, it just goes to a certain spot before the next corner and that sort of stuff. And it works really, really well. Yep. They're genuinely the best racing game I've probably ever played. It is the best racing game I've ever played.
That's high praise, yeah.
Yeah, I've only
apart
played
from maybe
it
Formula E, the elephant game.
Yeah, I've only played it once, and it was good fun. You hit the mark on everything there, Sam. I agree with you. And I have seen someone utilise the crash mechanism to the full extent to be able to. Ian done it. He's like, I'm just going to crash at this corner, so then I instantly go down to first gear.
Yeah, but again, if you can plow into a corner from far enough away at the right speed, I guess, then you can just go, yep, screw it, I'm just going to smash into that corner, stop dead, go back to that line.
So it's great. I do want to play more. I do want to do the campaign or the kind of race championship mode. That looks fun. Was meant to be playing it before Christmas, but I got sick, of course. So missed out on that. But yeah, definitely great racing game.
And it comes with loads of little expansions as well in the box.
Yeah. We played. I think the first time I played, we played just vanilla, and then the second time we played, Nick, who owns it, just said, "Right, we're going to play with the weather, and we're going to play with something else. I can't remember what it was." And I was like, "Oh, crikey, okay, more stuff." And actually, it's so simple. It's like the weather is literally just some things that go out on the board, and it just affects what happens at certain corners. Really good, simple, but adds that little bit of dynamism to it again.
What I love is they're not even hiding the aspect there's going to be expansions, because there's spots for 7th and 8th car, and there's loads of gaps for new cards and things like that.
Yeah, loads of cards and stuff. Yeah, exactly. So, they've got it all mapped out for sure.
Yeah,
I kind of simultaneously abhor that, because obviously it feels like, okay, so they've planned for it and they haven't put it in the box, but they know what it's going to be, and it's going to be released pretty soon. But at the same time, I admire it, because they're going, you know what, we're gonna support this game, and we're going to give you a base game box that fits it all when you want it. So it's ideal, and also it means they also had the opportunity to see, is it going to work, is it going to sell? If it didn't sell, I suspect they'd can it for a time, and then but no. It's worked. They'll have an expansion out by the end of the year.
This is going to be Milk's like Ticket to Ride. This is their new Ticket to Ride, I reckon, now. So.
From the maps perspective, it certainly will be. Yeah. And I think it'll be quite cheap, because people will just want new tracks, pretty much. They won't care about anything else necessarily. But I think I'd be like, I'd like to have a box full of tracks. Why not?
Yeah, cool.
Definitely. Lewis?
Well, my number 4 was, again, another one that quite surprised me. It is... I played the newer version, 2nd edition of London by Martin Wallace. And Martin Wallace is not a designer that I traditionally really like, but this year has surprised me a little bit. And that I played London. I thought it was really quite a nice little kind of engine builder. And I did actually, really quite enjoy it. Just to link into what Sam was saying about all the different cards in that Meadow. This version of London, I don't know about the original, but this one does have like repetitive cards, but it's also got different names and different artwork for cards that have the exact same use value, whatever it may be. So it's completely confused me so many times. Like, but that's just a little side note. But yeah, it's just a little engine builder, and I quite enjoyed it. It's got the kind of the whole corruption side of things, which is where kind of you get kind of poverty as you kind of build up your city, and the bits that kind of clog up your mechanism, and kind of hand limit and whatnot. But I thought it was really quite interesting. Ever since I was at the British Games Expo, UK Games Expo, UK Games Expo, and I saw a talk with Martin Wallace in which someone asked him the question, "How do you work out the the balance, the points in your games?" And he went, "I sort of just kind of sort of guess really." And that was when I was like, "Ooh." That does not explain a lot. I shan't be following any more of his games. But actually, this year I've played one, and then maybe another one to come. And maybe he's just got very good intuition, because I thought it.
I think he's got that skill of being able to estimate very, very closely.
He's one of those OG designers, isn't he? He's like. I mean, he's not in the same category in terms of renown or success, I guess, as the likes of the current crop of Uwe Rosenberg and all that, and Vladimir Succi and co. But he, for my money, he's up there in terms of the skill of design. Yeah, and I wouldn't say every single game of his I like, but all the ones I've tried, I've got a whole bunch in my shelves here that I'm constantly surprised. Same as you, Lewis. I'm surprised I like them, because they're the sort of game I don't think I would like Brass Lancashire is easily one of my top 3 games, and that's exactly the kind of game I would, even now, I wouldn't touch another game like it at all. I would always walk away and run a mile, but I love Brass Lancashire. I've got London second edition on my shelves as well. Admittedly, that's on my shelf for shame. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to now because you like it so much. Sorry, you quite liked it, I should say.
Third out of
yeah, and another in my top 10 for sure is Discworld Ankh-Morpork, which is a licensed property job,
so
but actually is a brilliant game. Such a good game.
Good.
I've only played that twice. I didn't get on well with it. It was right in the early days of me playing board games. So I think it was almost just when it came out. When did that come out?
A long time ago now. I think it was that was 2012 or 13 maybe.
Oh, maybe it was later on because I played games way before that. So
might have been earlier than that. Might have been
2011 it came out. Yes, I remember when it came out, but and I played it, and it's asymmetrical player powers, isn't it? Again,
yeah.
And
the asymmetric win conditions.
Yeah,
that was it. But I think I was I the trolls or something like that, and my win conditions were just disproportionately harder. I think I had to get loads of money. Did I have to get loads of money? And that was really quite hard to get. And then somebody else, I think, had Sam Vimes, and you literally have one of your people in 4 areas.
Just to cancel that, Sam Vimes is the one that he's the guard, what's called city guard, and his one is that you have to run the deck down. And the only complaint I'd have with it is that if you play with a full player count, and Sam Vimes is in play, he's going to win. Because
I think that's what happened.
Yeah, because there's 4 or 5 characters that all have the same, or maybe only 3, I can't remember now exactly, that have got the same condition, which is to have a certain amount of control in a certain number of districts. And I think if you've got 2 of those and Sam Vimes in play, Sam Vimes is going to win because the other 2 are constantly keeping themselves in check. So it's not the most balanced game in terms of the win conditions, I don't think. But if you're a Discworld fan, then it's a no-brainer for me. It's just fun,
I don't think I played a huge number of games when I came into it. I think I played Catan. I think I played Puerto Rico. I think by that point I played maybe Eclipse. I played a few games. Maybe I hadn't played Eclipse by that point. But I'd kind of only played quite pure and old school Euros that were around from the noughties, and then I played that, and it seemed so unfair. How are you starting with all that power and I get nothing? Or how is your thing so easy to do? I'm sure it was Sam Vimes who won, and I'm thinking you've done nothing. What? How to win the game? You've done nothing, and I've been battling away to get 10 million gold, which is almost impossible to do.
Right, that's the bit, isn't it? I like it. It almost verges on social deduction because you've got that element of trying to work out which character people are. And normally that's, again, the kind of thing I would hate to do. And I don't really like area control games either. But I think the social dynamics are just right with it. It's not too much meta. Or it doesn't slip into meta like a lot of those games do, where you're kind of playing the person, not the game, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's always fun. Anyway, we're diverging because you were talking.
That was one of the ones that kind of. But again, that had kind of put me off Martin Wallace, and that's a perfect example because that was an early game I played that put me off area control and Martin Wallace, both of which this year I've kind of reverted on. It's interesting, isn't it? It's a great little connection.
Yeah.
Joel, number 2.
Yeah. So actually, me and Lewis share number 2 slot with the same game. So our number 2 is sorry, you got me with
Ankh-Nova.
Ankh-Nova. A lot of Ankhs this episode.
Ankh-Nova, the zoo building game. So I played this for the first time this year. I've played quite a few games of it. I've loved every game I've played. I've never scored negative, which is a miracle, some people say. So I think my lowest score was 3 or 4. But so yeah, I enjoy every aspect of it. Like the card, which card you're going to play and how you're going to manipulate it, to setting out your zoo and how you're going to make it work with the animals. And then I just aim for, I want the red pandas. I just take the red pandas. That's fine. That'll do me for the game. No, No, just trying to manipulate and then watching what everyone else is doing and saying, "Oh, he's doing that. He's nearly done this bit." And then you're watching the two counters coming closer and closer. You're trying to work out, well, could be a couple more turns. Can I get this done? So yeah, I really like that aspect. I am looking forward to the expansion. I don't know how much more it's going to add to it, because that deck
really
is massive already. So
that's my one complaint, I think, with it is, especially at a lower player count, is you can't get through that deck fast enough.
It almost needs to be divided off, so you have kind of themed decks.
It
like that.
Yeah. But I love Ark Nova as well. I think it's a great game. This would have probably been made my list had I not played it first in end of December 21. So it just missed out on this. But yeah, otherwise it would have been around about number 3 or 4.
Yeah, I particularly like the scoring system.
Yeah,
you kind of got one bit to pass another bit. I quite enjoyed that. I quite enjoyed what it did to the river of cards, and I felt that made it. I don't, as everyone knows, my main problem with Terraforming Mars is big deck of cards with random powers, some clearly better than the other. And I think my main issue in Terraforming Mars is that you don't have a huge amount of control over what cards are available to you. And you can end up with cards that are literally the same but worse than somebody else. And it just annoys me. That just annoys me. All that's happened there is luck. And that's just annoying. And what I quite liked about this was you are still susceptible to that luck, but if you invest in one area, you open up more options, and therefore you increase your own luck. You kind of make your own luck there. And even though I suspect the outcome is the same, if you were to do the maths, probably on in terms of probability of getting the right cards and whatnot, and things, and randomness and swinginess. It feels like you have more control, and it feels like you've invested more in getting your better luck rather than you just happen to. Because that thing I don't like about those other games when there's things like that is because I don't even like getting the good card because I feel like I haven't earned the win. Then I feel like I won because I got the better card. Whereas with this, at least if you get the good card, you feel like, well, I got it because I invested in being able to access more of the river of cards and the ones on the display, so I could do that, and I quite like that as well. And I thought it was really, really quite enjoyable. It's quite long.
It can go very long, but it doesn't necessarily feel like that it's that long.
No, it didn't.
I think our first game was 3.5 hours, but it didn't feel like we played it for 3 hours. It felt like a 2-hour game.
Yeah.
How many times?
How long was ours, Joel?
Was it just the one play we had?
Yeah.
I did teach you a rule wrong.
What rule did you teach me wrong?
That changes the whole thing.
It kind of does.
Scrap it.
That's why it was like. So, when you got it's hard to explain. You got the achievement cards, haven't you? On the associate side. So you're trying to get, 5 items from Africa, and you can put a cube on there, and you take it off of your player board and put it on there. And then if you upgrade your associate action, you can then also do like a bonus cube placement by paying coins, and you can put another cube on. Well, that cube doesn't come from your player board, that just comes from your supply. And that's why we're unlocking so much stuff along that left-hand side of our player board.
It did seem like we were upgrading pretty fast.
Yeah, I was like, I've never seen this before in a game. So, yeah, that shouldn't have happened. But anyway, small little error, but we all played the same. So
great game.
Yeah,
agree.
What's really interesting is I played that rule wrong in the first time I did it, and we had to take it back, and I had to take a cube off my board to put on there.
Yeah, yeah. You think you did actually take it from your supply?
Yes. I played wrong correctly.
Yeah. So
all right, we'll have to give it another go. We'll bust it out at the board game weekend.
Most likely, yeah.
I'm very excited about
it. Nick's game has already been mentioned.
Yeah, my number 2 was Heat, Pedal to the Metal, which was Sam's number 3. Nothing more really to add to that. It's just a great game. Really enjoy it. Loved it. It was my favourite game of GridCon. And I'm looking forward to see what else they come up with and trying some of the expansions out.
Yeah. And then Sam's number 2 is?
Mine is Die Wandelnden Turme.
Yeah, you love this game.
The Wandering Tower.
Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. 3D Ludo in a circle weird thing.
It's Ludo in it.
There's nothing more to say about it, really.
I love it.
It's just silly, and it plays better the more players you have, which is always a good thing in a game for me. You've got 5 or 6, it's just chaos and mad, and I love it. Looking forward to playing that again sometime.
I remember I took it to Monday Night Group, and I think I was playing Arkham, I'm pretty sure. And then people were next to me and said, "Oh, we need a game of for 5 of us to play." So I said, "Oh, you could play this game. I can teach you it while I'm playing this." So I brought it out, put it out, set it up for him, and I said to him, I was explaining it, and it goes round this way and does. And I said, "Oh, if you play the card with a dice on it, you roll the dice. You roll the dice and you move that much. So if you get another card, it's got 2 dice on it. You can get. I'm pretty sure re-rolls." But they started playing it, and now I'm watching it, and it was Rob, Nick, and he says, "Oh yeah." So I moved the tower 15 spaces around the board. I was like, "What? You can't move it 15 spaces around." He goes, "Yes, what you said." I said, "How are you doing it 15 spaces?" He says, "So I got this card. It's got 3 dice on it. So I rolled a dice 3 times and added it together." No, they're re-rolls.
That's some bonkers
That's
logic.
not what you said. You told me you had it together. No, I did not.
Oh, you gotta love Rob. He's so funny.
Oh, any loophole he can find. Yeah. Yep. So that game was completely screwed for them because they were doing something else wrong in it as well. But anyway, I think it's a great game, great family game. Easy to explain, and the table presence is great with the towers building up and things like that. So yeah.
Cool.
It's still my tip for Spear of Yaris next year, if
it gets remembered.
If it gets remembered, exactly.
So we're on to our number 1s. Yay! So my number 1 is my most played game of this year. Surprised, actually, because at first, when I first played it, I thought it was meh. It was alright. But the more I played it, the more I've just thought, this is great. I'm loving this game. And it's The Hunger. It's The Hunger. It's about vampires. You're a vampire. You're going out. You're trying to find humans and devour them. And you're scoring points from them. The trouble is, the more humans you collect into your hand, it's a deck builder. So the more humans you get into your hand, the slower you go.
But Joel, you only like it because yours win, because you don't tell people you got to get back to the mountains.
No,
that's completely against it. You're meant to keep going all the way around to the end.
Joel, it was the first thing he said when he explained the rules to me, was that you have to get back to win.
That's because it's had so much drama before.
Yeah.
So good.
I do reinstate that rule now. If you want to score, be back in this area, not over in this area. But anyway, so
good.
Just every game I've enjoyed. Even that game that we just highlighted, I very much enjoyed. And I'm always trying to find new bits about it, or trying little bits. I'm always going for the rose now that is at the very end of the trail, just to make it that little bit harder for me, which then usually leads other people to try and invest in that movement as well when they really hate me, because then they get stuck and they go and get back. And I have played the expansion a couple of times. It does add a lot more to it. It does add some new dynamics to it. I'm not sure yet about it, but I will.
I have one more question. Do you like it because it looks like Clank?
It has very much a lot of tropes to it, to Clank.
Yes, a lot.
But it's a different game.
Not Clank-like. Yeah.
Okay, it is not Clank. This is
not.
It's just not canon. It's not canon.
No. So it is a deck builder. There is a board that you move through, and you use your cards to move through, and you then buy. But other than that, your deck, as you collect cards, as I said, if you get humans into your deck, you do want humans because they score you points. but then they also don't give you any speed, which is the currency you need to move around and buy new stuff. So you could at one point draw a handful of humans. It's like, I can't do anything. Okay, that's my turn wasted, kind of thing. And that's the way up you're trying to do. Is like, I could hunt, or I could just move quickly. Oh,
so what are humans' points, are they?
Yeah, so every time so basically the currency is speed. So you start off with a deck, and it's got like numbers in the one corner, and that is basically speed, how far you can move. Plus, also you need to use that as well to hunt. And there's like a dungeon row column system, and depending what column you want to get humans or that from, depends on how much you need to leave over from your movement spending. So if there's humans in only column 3, which cost you 3, then you need to have 3 speed after you move to get that human. You can get other things. You can get vampire powers, which do aid you. And what's the other thing you can get? Forgotten. There's a third thing you can buy. Familiars, creatures.
I was going to say pets.
Wolf there. Yeah. So yeah, you can get those, and they stay out permanently and always kind of give you a little bit of a bonus or boost and things like that. So yeah. Great, and I've had some great gaming experiences with it, especially when we all sat there around the table 11 o'clock at night singing Kiss from a Rose from Seal.
Yeah, so good.
And then someone realises, it's actually a rose in the game. Well, why are we singing this song?
Someone was just in it for a good laugh. It's my favourite song.
So it is my number one game for the most plays, the most gaming experience, and actually it is a really good game if people give it a chance. So yeah.
Yeah. Cool. My number one is Imperial Steam from last year. This came out in 2021. I think it delivered to Kickstarter backers. And this is I've mentioned it last year a number of times. We again played this at QuidCon. It's a fairly heavy train-themed game, but it is very crunchy and very enjoyable if you enjoy that style of game. It can get very thinky because there are 11 different actions you can choose on your turn, but it builds up over the rounds where you only start with 2 actions you can do, and then you get 3, and then you get 4, and then you get 5. And it's really, really clever, but yet quite crunchy game of building a train route in Austria, and getting investments and building your trains and building your tracks and trying to.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, how do they come up with that theme? That's just.
I know, it's genius. It's never been used before.
I've never come across it before in a board game.
I do want to.
I really, really enjoy it.
I'm sure it's on someone else's list that was quite high as well. I want to say Paul Grogan, but I'm not sure. I'm sure I've been watching a few videos, and I'm sure he's mentioned it, but I might be wrong.
I do back a good solid Euro sometimes.
So yeah, look forward to having a chance of playing that.
Yeah. Board game weekend. Bring it to the board game weekend.
Your weekend's going to be packed. You're going to need a.
My weekend is going to be pre-booked. I'm going to have to get a calendar, a diary out. Right, 9 till 10. I've got.
Clank Catacombs.
Clank Catacombs. And then we'll move on to Vampire Clank. And then we'll move.
Yeah. Sam. Now, Sam's cheated this because I know he started this a different year.
I did start it. I started it in 2020, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But
so did we, didn't we, Lewis?
Started and completed 2 very different. We basically almost started again because it had been so long, and then finished it all pretty quickly after that. I think we finished it in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks or something. But yeah, Clank Legacy is my personal pick, and that is a bit of a cheat. I agree.
Of course it is.
But it is an outstanding Clank experience, and I think it's still the outstanding Clank experience. But unfortunately, it's done, isn't it?
This is like, you know that episode of Friends when Phoebe's giving birth, and there's that doctor who bangs up at the Fonz all the time. It reminds me a bit of that. It is an outstanding Clank experience.
I think it's a fair choice, though, that you finished it in 2022.
That is permissible.
I played 90% of it, basically. In 2022. And obviously I was kind of like sold on it straight away anyway, as we know. But it stands up, even though I fully expected it to be the best legacy game I played to date. It easily is, and I think the thing I love about all of the Clank variations, including Catacombs and stuff, is the fact that because I'm, myself and probably Joel now as well, definitely Joel now, so familiar with the overall Clank mechanisms, the barrier to entry for us into any other version of Clank is so low that you can just go with it straight away. And there's to be fair, the rule books are always really good. I can't remember who it was that said it. It was a video on, might have been a Dice Tower one or something. I can't remember now. I think it was actually John and Alan on Tabletop 24. Friend of the show, John. If you're listening, John, hello. They said that the thing that they liked was in Catacombs was the fact that it does a great job in the rulebook of just pointing out where it's different from the previous versions of Clank. Legacy did exactly the same thing, where it's like, this is all like Clank, just pay attention to this bit and this bit and this bit. And so it just you're literally just setting it up and off you go. I think that's what I always loved about it. But yeah, Clank Legacy is like the pinnacle of that sort of Echo style legacy experience for me.
Yeah. See, what I've started it again with Claire. We're into two games in. So when we finish it this year, it might be on my list for the end of this year's games next year. Anyway,
I've given you the idea now. The cheat is established.
You've opened up that loophole in the legacy game aspect now for the game of the year.
We started, didn't we, Joel? Me, you, Claire, and my wife all started it. Did we get 2 games in?
Yes, we did. We did 2 games.
Yeah. It looked like it was actually, for a legacy game, reasonably good.
So the fact was, because we started it as a 4, and I couldn't remember what had gone on before. I was just like, I want to do this fresh with Claire, so we just start from the beginning. So, and unfortunately, Meeple's Corner had it on offer, which was not it was like plus 50 quid plus, but I mean it was pretty good. So I thought, I'll take that, and I think I even got that beginning of last year, and only just got round to doing it now. And so we're 2 games in, and it is already, I'm loving it again. It's like instantly you do something, open this envelope, stick this sticker on, do this, add this card in. It's like, there is so much going on, and we've only just done the first few moves. This is amazing, kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to completing it eventually. Lewis, last one.
Well, my number one, again, carries on one of my themes of, 2 of my themes of the year. Because my other theme of the year was playing games from back yonder, from the time of yore. And so I've actually owned this game. I bought this game just before the first lockdown, because it came out on a Kickstarter. It's actually a reprint of a classic game with adaptations, and then it kind of it had a kind of a sale release, and it got bought, and it all got sold out, and it hadn't been in stock for quite a while. And then it sort of came back in stock, and I'd been umming and ahhing about it, and I saw it in Meeple's Corner, and I'll just grab it. So I did. And then it stayed on my shelf, sealed, for 2 years or something ridiculous. And then with my new game group, we started playing it, and it's Martin Wallace's Brass, but specifically Brass Birmingham, so the kind of newer one with beer, as opposed to the original Brass, which is now called Brass Lancashire. So we played Birmingham. I've played quite a few games of it now with my new group. I say quite a few. I mean 5 maybe. Not kind of.
That's quite a few in our hobby. That's loads.
Yeah. And I really, really like it. again, yeah, it was a surprise because I didn't think I'd like it because of Martin Wallace. But again, it's quite tight. It's not as swingy as you want it to be. It's really, really clever, and it must be a complete. I know because I know the rules of Lancashire and how different it is, and I need to play Lancashire. But it must be a completely different game because in Lancashire, it looks like you just build and sell, and the kind of efficiency is kind of selling as many things in one turn as possible. Whereas the limit with the beer is not just about making sure that you've got the thing to sell and you want to sell as many things efficiently as possible. You've got to make sure the beer's available. It's not even just about building your own beer because other people can steal your beer. So sometimes, even though you get points for other people taking your beer, you don't want people to take your beer because you want to sell something that's worth more points with that beer and get the point. And it just becomes like a great game of cat and mouse, and it becomes really fun. We've had loads of really, really close games, really tight, people battling for connections and and eking out these little wins, and then people kind of battling to sell things, and somebody steals someone else's beer, and then it was a complete error, but then realizing that like somebody stole their beer so they couldn't sell their thing for loads of points, but then realizing that because that person had done that thing, it had now made all the connections out of this city worth a gazillion points. And so actually if he then builds trains over the two connections, that's worth as many points as he would have got from selling stuff anyway. It's just those are really clever, funny things that have kind of come out of that. We've had some really kind of fun, tight finishes that have been really quite fun. Really enjoyed it. Quite an exhilarating game.
I mean, with you going on about it, I actually, as I said, picked up a copy cheap in Black Friday, and I played 3/4 of a game one evening because we just ran out of time. And there was a moment where I was like, "Oh, there's a beer there. So is this going to be last turn of the round or the last turn of the era? I'm gonna use that beer. I can sell this product and I can make a few points." Yeah. And then someone comes in, he swoops in, on his turn before me, he comes, right, so I can sell this, and he grabs a beer from elsewhere, and he's like, yeah, I sell this, that's fine. Yeah. It's like, phew, he hasn't touched my beer. And then I can sell this product with this beer. I was like, you and I could have quite literally flipped the table. I was like, no. Yeah. And I had nothing else to do. I was like, that's useless, I can't do this. Okay, I'll take a loan then. Because I can't do anything now.
And there's the bits where, and it's so good. And there's bits where, like, because obviously, you can take coal, other people's coal and iron and things. Yeah. And you desperately don't want to do that. You're watching yourself pump points into someone else. Yeah. And yet you just need the coal and you just have to do it or you could do nothing. Like, no! It's really clever. I think it's really fun.
Definitely need to play it properly, full length.
Yeah.
To see it out.
Good game. Really impressive. I want to play Lancashire as well. I might pick that up actually if I can find it cheap.
Yeah. And then you need some iron clays to go with it.
Need some what?
Iron clays. the tokens that we're using for Ark-Nova.
Poker chips.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. They're
called iron clays. Yeah, they're really nice. It was so funny that even the couple of weeks we were playing Ark-Nova, and Ian's jokingly going, "Oh, ain't the coins using Ark-Nova so diverse? You can use them in anything, can't you?" Like that. I was like, "Yeah, I'd rather use my poker chips that I've got." And he said, "Wouldn't it be funny if every game that needed currency, we just use Ark-Nova tokens as a currency, and we'd take pictures and just post it up online to wind people up?" So,
I've just remembered one thing about brass Birmingham that really annoys me. And that is the way, what is it? It's the way you pay for stuff and getting, what is it? That is it. When you pay for stuff, you put the money onto your name and that decides who goes next turn. But what it means is you can't, like, you have to get full change all the time and it's really annoying. So you have to like, if you like think like, it's £24 I've got to pay, you've got to put in, you can't just put in 25 and take one out of the pot. You have to get full change. So you have to put a 5 in, take the 5 ones out, then take the 20 and the 4, put that onto your name, and then put and keep the I don't know why, but it's just so annoying.
You might prefer brass Lancashire in that case because, quite frankly, you're never dealing with numbers that high.
Well, I mean, no, but again, it might. But again, it might even be 3, and you've only got a 5.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. It's more just you have to get the change. It's just.
I think the more you play it, the more you sort of want to take the smaller denominations, or make sure you've got plenty of them, just so that. Yeah. I mean, I try and always have 5s and 1s basically, because it just feels. The only time I ever go for like a 10 or a 20 is if I'm feeling a bit like cocky and going, "Yep, I've got enough. I don't need to change this."
I'm never spending that.
But yeah, no, I personally prefer Lancashire. We've talked about it before, but both are excellent. And I realise that those that want a bit more diversity in actions prefer Birmingham, and that's fine. But I just think Lancashire as the original is just so tight a game. It's almost perfect, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I really want to play it, but like I said, so much joy has been, and puzzling and worry and stress has come out of the beers that I just really want to see.
Yeah, I think the angst in Lancashire probably comes more from the claiming. Obviously, the routes, you can still use other people's routes and stuff, but it's the angst comes from when you're sort of building your ports to be able to sell your mills and stuff like that, and you kind of want to it is all about the optimization of that action and timing it right so that you use the foreign market correctly, so you get the best benefit initially early on, and then you have a port to sell through, and you want to kind of be able to combo and go, right, I can flip my mill, I can flip my port, and I can get loads of points and loads of income. You don't want to have to give other people income by using their port if you have to, and that kind of stuff. So it's all about the timing of actions, which is
that's sort
kind of simulates the same thing.
Same idea, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it just adds that extra one thing.
I also just love how halfway through that game it just goes, oh, by the way, everything you've done now is shit.
It's obsolete.
Take it off the board, you useless dickhead. Now start again. It's like, no.
Thematically, that makes brilliant sense as well. Though. It's like all the people that invested money in the canals and boats and stuff are just suddenly going, oh no! Quick, get onto the rails.
You imagine in years before going, that train thing, that's never take off. The canals will be around forever. But anyway, so that is our top 5 games of 2022 to us. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good list. And actually, that list now covers what games we were going to talk about that we played recently. Because mine was Great Western Trail Argentina. Lewis did mention Ankh. Yeah, I
snuck Ankh in there deliberately
so he did mention my little trap. Sam mentioned both games that he's listed, Clank, Catacombs and Meadow. So and then it was Nick who did mention MicroMacro Crime City. And
Great Western Trail Argentina.
Great Western Trail. So I think we've covered our games played.
Good mix.
Recently, so listen back if you missed any of that. Fallen asleep for it. And then we've got this last little bit at the end of our podcast. Any other business? If anyone wants to put anything they want to talk about in here, we're going to keep it nice and short. I'm going to kick it off with we in the podcast before Christmas we discussed TV programs. Nick brought up Wednesday. The Netflix series about Wednesday from Addams Family, and I sat over the Christmas period and binged it in like 2 days. It was great. I loved it.
So good, so well done.
It's brilliant filming. The character Wednesday. I love the fact she didn't blink when it was like on her thing. That wasn't. She never got told to do that. She just done it. And
she's an amazing actress.
Yeah, the director said, I love it. I want you to do it throughout now, kind of thing. So that composure of not blinking.
Yeah.
I was just in awe. It was just amazing.
My eyes are watering just thinking about it.
Yeah, I know. You try sitting there, not trying to blink at certain moments. But
it's
the story
really weird.
was great.
My son can literally go 2 minutes without blinking. Like we've timed him. Like he can literally just keep it. Yeah,
I can't do that.
He's absolutely ridiculous. I think about not being able to blink, and my eyes start stinging and watering. Like right now, they're stinging and watering, and I haven't even not blinked. But he's unbelievable.
Definitely
amazing.
So, and season 2 is on its way.
Cool.
Looking forward to that when it kicks off. So check out Wednesday on Netflix if you got it.
My little any other business is just today I received my Kickstarter rewards from backing the Dice Tower Kickstarter last March or something, because they take a while to do their things. And it's just little we'll call double D6 dice, which are D12s with 1 to 6 pips repeated twice on them. So they're exactly the same odds as a D6, but they roll much, much nicer than a D6. So I've got 2 of those, and they're very cool. That was my little spot.
Ah, nice.
Looking forward to trying those.
And Sam?
That's cool. I'd like one of those. Right, the D6s I don't mind. D4s though can do one. No one wants pyramid dice. They are the worst dice in the world. I want a D4 that's 8-sided.
You could do a triple D4. Would be on a D12.
Yeah, that would work
perfectly.
Yeah. I want that. So if they do those, let me know, because I'll be in for those to replace the silly pyramid things that I've got.
Yeah. Don't tread on the mine.
My little one is, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it already, but I'm going to Aircon for the first time this year. So I'll be going to the UK's second, I think, biggest game convention.
Yes, now, yeah.
So yeah, I'm going there with some friends, including John and the guys from Tabletop 24. So yeah, I shall have a nice report for you in March.
Excellent. That's a long way, isn't it, as well? Absolutely.
It is, yeah. Now that I've got an electric car as well, it's just like, I'm going to have to plan this route carefully.
Yes.
What electric car did you get?
The new Kia Niro.
Oh, yeah.
It's really nice. Yeah,
is that delivered, is it? Because they were.
Yeah. We got in early. So we ordered it in June. We picked it up in sort of towards the end in November. Can't remember exactly when in November, but we picked it up in November, early November, I think.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and it's
quite well.
Love it. Yeah. The only thing is trying to get used to the kind of vagaries of the charging network at the moment. We went to St Ives for Christmas and thought, okay, great, we can make it to St Ives in one hop, no problem. But it's kind of there isn't much charging infrastructure around that end of Cornwall. So rather than sort of have to plug in for like 8 hours at a 7 kilowatt charger at Tesco, we thought, well, let's stop at the Cornwall Services, which is just at the bottom end of Bodmin, and there's a GridServe electric highway spot that's built there now. Started there, no problem. We were there for an hour putting some charge in. It was running a bit slow, but it worked fine. Plenty of space and everything. It was really good. Then on the way back, we thought, right, okay, we'll stop there again just to make sure we got enough to get home, because we were running short after a bit of driving around in Cornwall. And none of the chargers were working. Not a single one was turned on.
No.
So it's got a number. It's got a number on it. So you think, okay, well, let's phone and see if this, maybe it's just tripped and they can restart it or something like that. Phone it, and there's this dead-sounding girl on the other end of the line going, "Yeah, it's not working today." Oh, great, thanks. Brilliant. Thankfully, I did one. But the tip for me now, and I did it deliberately this time as well. I knew where the second choice was within sort of like 20 miles. And have you guys heard of what's the Jamaica Inn?
Yeah.
They've got
some
one there now, chargers there.
Oh, cool.
So we thought, right, screw it, we're going to go there and have a coffee. So we're there for an hour, and but I had to plug into like a domestic style 7 kilowatt charger because the rapid ones were taken. And we were there for an hour, and I put 30 miles on it, I think. Maybe not even that many. So I've got my route mapped out for Harrogate. It'll be 2 stops at 2 hopefully turned on electric highway spots, but also with plenty of scope for
the electric highway is much better now. When it was run by
Ecotricity,
it was so bad. The amount of time you'd pull into like a service station, and like you would literally from about 40% just have to start pulling into every service that you pass on the motorway because and just charge the one they came across, because 3 out of 4 of them just wouldn't be working. Then they'd just be dead. But every now and again, you come across one that just like lost connectivity, and when that happens, they just give you free charge. So you just plugged in and got free charge. So it sort of balanced out every now and again. Yeah, it swings around about. Yeah, but it caused so much aggro though. So I just basically, because we've got a petrol and electric, I would just go any distance. I'd go in the diesel, but for general, if I couldn't charge at home or at my parents' house, or if I'm going somewhere I know there's a charger, it's fine. Or like I went on a work overnight thing that was 200 miles away or whatever it was, and I just drove to that, and I already checked beforehand they had a charger, so I just got there, and then I was there for 2 days. So then I just charged up there and then drove straight back, so it was all fine.
Yeah. It's just a bit of a culture shift in terms of how you've got to kind of plan your journeys and things. But in terms of the overall benefits, just so much more pleasurable to drive. It's going to make you a terrible driver, but
it doesn't make a huge difference to your life either, as long as the charger's working. Because most of the time, by the time you're done 200 miles, you want to stop for something to eat anyway. You just plug it in. Nice. By the time you've had a wee, got your macas, and wander back to the car, you're back up to 8% anyway, and there's no point in charging on a fast charger more than 8%. You just move on to the next charger.
Yeah. No, exactly. So anyway, aircon, I'll let you know.
Cool.
If I make it home.
The only thing other thing I wanted to highlight, and I've meant to say at the beginning of the show, but I completely forgot. I was on the radio the other day, and so our friend Nigel, who I play games with, has a regular spot on a local charity radio. He does playing retro music from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and he's really good. He's a really good DJ. And he plays it all vinyl as well. So he invited me along. I have to say I was really anxious about it for some reason, but I turned up, started the show off. I kind of sat there for the first half an hour to an hour, kind of going, yeah, I like that track, yeah. And then in the second hour, I really got into it and having a good conversation. So, and he did say, well, next time you come on, you can do a bit. I might put you actually on the decks and you can play your own tunes. And then he was on then maybe you might want to do your own spot on it. I was like, what? I've only just yeah, maybe. Let's see how it goes next time, shall we? So that's Omnium Radio, which is internet radio. So that was on Tuesday. I think you can hear it back. I'm not sure how. It does get recorded and uploaded somewhere. So maybe I'll find the link and put it in the show notes. So yeah.
Cool. Nice.
New little thing. So the podcasts, we're trying to do twice a month now. We've got a little roadmap going on of planned out mostly for the year. Same old thing we're going to be talking about, but as you can probably guess, we're going to have bits of features. So first podcast would be kind of top 10 or a discussion thing. And then the second podcast in the month, we're hoping to do a review, a focus review on a game. And this month, end of January, if you haven't guessed, it's probably going to be Clank Catacombs. Lewis is like, I'm out. I
like Clank. I'm just not. I just don't get your weird obsession with it. Like I don't understand. I can't just like. What's it like? It'd be like me just kind of constantly saying how much I love Ticket to Ride. And like, there's a new map for Ticket to Ride come out. Oh, another ride for Ticket to Ride come out. Like, well, Ticket to Ride's a perfectly good game, but why are you so obsessed with it? That's all it is. That's all it is.
No, I know. It's fine. So
I'm waiting for Ticket to Ride Legacy.
Oh, that would be great.
Oh, that would be good.
That is an idea.
Actually, I joked about it, but actually, that would be really good.
Yeah, it would be.
Just amazed it hasn't happened already. I mean,
yeah.
No. Do you know what I thought would be a really good Legacy game? And I've completely forgotten. Lords of Waterdeep.
Oh no. That cube pusher. How to make that cube pusher even worse.
I like Lords of Waterdeep.
Make it lost.
I love Lords of
Waterdeep. I can't stand it.
I mean, to be fair, in some ways, there are certain games. This came up in a thought the other day. There's certain games that have been replaced by their app versions, and I think Lords of Waterdeep was one of those. I got rid of my copy of Lords of Waterdeep when the app came out because the app is done so well and takes away all the admin. There's another one that I was thinking about with this. All of them, like things like Ascension. Well, I would never consider bothering having Ascension now because the app works fine.
Yeah.
There was another one. I can't remember what it was. Really bad story because I can't remember what the one that actually triggered that thought was. But yeah, there's another one. I can't remember what it was, but there's certain games where it's just like the appeal of the cardboard version is gone because the app version is plenty good enough and takes away all the problems. But yeah, ignore me. Can't remember. Lord of the Waterdeep was one of those though.
Yeah. So next episode is going to be our review on Clank Catacombs. So if you want to find out what our thoughts are on it, then tune in for that. We were hoping we were going to
or tune into any episode, and we'll give you our full thoughts on Clank.
On Clank, yeah.
Well, it was that kind of thing. It's like, well, we should just do it. It's a new one. It's the first review. We might as well do it on Clank in some kind of form.
Spoiler alert! It's going to be a good review.
Aren't they all?
It was only number 4 on my best of the year list.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. How good can it be?
So yeah,
that's only because the other 3 spots were taken by other Clank games.
So yeah, we were hoping these episodes will be a lot shorter. We've still hit the 2-hour mark, so we need to do a little bit more fine tuning on it. But hopefully, the idea is to get them down shorter. And yeah, so I think we're all done for tonight. And I'd like to thank you for listening to the podcast. Any thoughts or suggestions on the show? Maybe put in your own top games lists that we can do. Send them over to the usual contact pages. Drop in on our Discord forum and have a chat. And if Lewis ever finds the right button to press, then he can join in too. And we've got our usual ways: email, Twitter, Facebook, social media sites. You can go along, find all the links in our show notes below. So thanks, guys, for giving up your time for the show. Do you want to say goodnight?
Night.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night for me. Bye, everyone.
Perfect.
Cool. We almost had it down to an hour. Just
by about 16 minutes.
Then I shut up.
Oh, there's some good discussions though. That's.
Oh shit! That's not what I meant to do. Sorry, wrong button. Wrong button.
I've had enough of you dickheads. I'm out.
Okay.